All right, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing, folks? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being part of the Proper Wise Guy Show. Listen, this gets bonkers. This gets bananas. Buckle in. All right, you ready for this? A lot of conspiracy stuff going on here. A lot of theories being flown about. Let's just get right into this, okay? So we're gonna start right here, okay? Because here's what happens. Madea has clearly been Markle. Madea did not realize what a Pandora's box Madea opened. You do not invite a vampire into your house. The same goes for a Markle. You cannot let them in. Once they are in, they are there. He didn't invite them in. He invited them to live the jet, the freedom. It's over, John. Listen. This man's life has been turned upside down in less than 48 hours after seeing the Markle again. You're not going to believe this. What am I talking about? I'll tell you what I'm talking about. How about the fact that his whole fake award show that he's part of the committee of gets hijacked by her? Now, was that intentional? Did he want the Markle to Markle his own event? Because it's a distraction. Nobody's talking about his event. Nobody's talking about his award show other than her being there, right? The other thing is this. Next thing you know, the same night, a highline, sophisticated, amateur, idiot, bird brain burglary on his own house gets thwarted somehow. I don't believe any of that story, by the way. And the fact that they left the Juicy Smoulet starter kit for, I don't know, wannabe criminals behind. It's a little odd, but okay. Then Madea gets Markled in his own Times interview, loses his cool, and loses his Madea mind because he is so wrapped into the Markle mindset. Then, in less than 48 hours, this is all transpiring, then the president of his studios mysteriously gets in a plane crash, and wait till you see some of the stuff that I'm going to tell you. Let's start right here. This is Madea on Hoda and Jenna.
Meghan Markle recently said that you reached out to her and said, come, you can live in my home.
Stay in my house.
Yeah, it was a very difficult time for them. And what I know about the two of them, and I wish the world knew how much they love these two people.
By the way, he knows nothing about these two other than this talking point of love. And the other thing is this, it was difficult. It still is difficult, okay? He is an idiot. She is very confused at this point in time. They're suffering. They're victims. Folks, if you've ever had a $40 million wedding, you know that it's not easy. She's confused. Her world is upside down. Yeah, it's a fairy tale wedding. Everybody wants one. Sure, fine. She doesn't know if she's wearing a belt, if this is a necklace, if she's wearing two turtlenecks. She doesn't know.
People love each other. They found each other out of all these odds against them finding each other, they found each other. And
nobody else has odds of finding another compatible person for them. Nobody does. It's easy for everybody except these two. You take a rich, moronic simp who's as naive as a babe in the woods, who's absolutely clueless about everything, and you take a money-hungry gold digger actress from California that's barely hanging on by the skin of her chinny chin. And it's amazing how the chemistry flies between each other.
Love that they have is really, really moving. And I just wanted to do anything I could to support them.
Isn't that funny? Sometimes
I'm surprised he hasn't written a movie about this. This would be a great script. Now, speaking of great scripts, Madea gets interviewed by the Times. I don't know when this interview took place. I'm assuming it took place before the Paley Awards because there's a lot of things that have not been added to this, and it was published today. All right? But even the headline of this is about Madea and his new movie coming out on Netflix and all this Even the headline says DP, the billionaire who lent H and Scheissmeister his home. Okay? We get down here. Look at him. He's sitting here going, why did I do that? That's what he's sitting there thinking. Now, this is where you really got to pay attention because this gets weird. He has a 330-acre film studio in Atlanta, a cabin in rural Wyoming. He's got a cabin in the woods. A Bahamian island. He's one of those rich assholes that has an island, wonder why, and a Beverly Hills mansion which he lent to these two bird brains. Now, goes down here, it gets a little deeper. Right here, he has deals with Netflix, Amazon Studios, and Paramount. Well, Netflix is Shiesty and Ted Sarandos' thing. Amazon, I can't remember what there's a connection, but Paramount, Scheissmeist and H were in Jamaica. Hey man, Rasta Markle man. She was at Jamaica with the head of Paramount Studios. Remember that? Interesting that Tyler also has connections with these. Now let's get back to Tyler. He has made 27 movies, 20 plays, and 23 television series and counting. Listen to this. In the South, projects he writes alone over 14-hour days in 2 weeks flat. These pieces of shit he writes in 14-hour days in 2 weeks flat. I am shocked they take that long. Okay? He doesn't take edits. No shit. And he is always on time. In my case, early. There is no waste on my set. That's right. There's no waste. There's not even a creative idea that has ever been used. They don't waste anything. This is Shiesty hiding her 10 head. Okay, that's what that scene. Now we get down here. So think about this. He's got done all this stuff. Guess what this person's asking him about? Shiesty and H. All right, not talking about his new film. They don't care. Listen to this. This is where this gets real touchy for the Madea. Okay, listen to this. Though Perry is a household name in the States, in the UK, he is unavoidably connected with his close friends, the Juk and the Jushish. In 2020, after hearing they were trying to leave their temporary exile in Canada after Megxit and before the borders closed because people realized that they were trying to get into other countries, he offered them his house, a private jet, and a security team. Oh, I forgot to show you something. Hang on a second. Right here. This is Tyler Perry. He has a private jet in which he flies to see his 10-year-old son. Now, I don't know if he's a pilot, but it says he has a jet. Here's where it gets a little weirder. To wind down, this is going to come into play in a second, he builds radio-controlled airplanes in his home workshop. This 55-year-old billionaire is building radio-controlled airplanes in his workshop. Okay? Okay. So now let's get back down to Scheissman. Though he's a household name in the States and UK, he's unavoidably connected with the Jushish and Jushish. Okay, right here. He gave them his house, private jet, and a security team. Okay? This is the house. By the way, this is the same house that H had to build the makeshift chicken fence and stakes to block out the paparazzi instead of just staying, I don't know, inside of this huge monstrous house. Oh, Bugsy, we gotta go outside. I need some sunlight on my beautiful tan skin. Like, why would if this was my house, I doubt I would go outside. Doubtful. It'd be at least a good year before I would walk out the door. Okay? Everything would be delayed. This is where this goes off the rail. How did he prepare the couple for their move to America? I asked. I didn't, he says. Any conversational intimacy evaporates.
Meghan is from California. She knows California well. She's been gold digging up and down California since she was a caddy. She's been gold digging. She knows California well.
So there was nothing to prepare them for. But I will say this. What I learned about mentioning them, because there is this insatiable appetite to know all about them. So this is where Tyler is real jealous. Madea is jealous of the Markle. Is that any question that is asked becomes the headline of anything I say. Why is the appetite so insatiable for them
and not me and my dumb movies?
You're from the UK. You tell me, he says. Tyler's furious. The headlines are just as plentiful in America, I say.
You think? Well, you would know better than I.
Because I'm not paying attention to that world. It's clearly time to cut next scene. Now, this numbnuts just said he's clearly he's not paying attention to that world. But in the whole documentary and everything else leading up to it, numbnuts is sitting there going, their love, I'm just so enamored by their story. He goes in the documentary, talks about her dad and all this stuff. I couldn't believe what happened. I couldn't believe that. That's the biggest deal in it. You know what I mean? That's what his stresses about. Okay? Now, check this out. So in the video before this, I covered the Highline burglary that almost allegedly happened to Madea's house. Okay? Now, so this happened Wednesday night. So the same night, Madea's house almost has a Highline burglary, but it's thwarted. Okay? Thursday shows up. On Friday, his studio president is rest in peace. Okay? He's gone. Now, this is where it gets weird. After a plane crash, okay? So, Madea, just recap. Madea gets markled at his own event, his fake award show. He gets markled in his Times interview. They don't even care about his nonsense. A Highline burglary gets thwarted on the same night that he goes and meets the Markle. And then within a day after that, or a day and a half after that, the president of his company that he's known for 8 years. Now, rewind even further. Before any of this happened, the Diddy stuff came out. Okay? You following all this? Now, pay attention to this, because this gets real weird. Now, Tyler Perry has broken his silence over the passing of Steve Mensch, expressing his deep admiration and respect for his friend, while noting how hard this time of year is for him with devastating losses. Now, think about this. This is what Tyler says. This is on his Instagram right now. This is the time of year grief meets me like an unwanted visitor, as tomorrow marks 15 years since the loss of my mother. This is what you say, dude? It feels especially hard because I have lost so many friends and mentors this year, ranging in age from as young as 40 to 92. And today, yet another loss. Just another loss. Whatever. I don't know, just another one. Oh, there goes another one. He starts it off, instead of saying, oh my God, why you need to post anything on Instagram, I don't know. I don't get it, but of course. So my point is this. Even this thing, he's talking about his guy he's known for 8 years, president of a studio, okay? He still talks about himself, this is such a tough time for me. It's about me. Yeah, that guy, his plane, blew up in fire or whatever. But, it's about me. Tomorrow's going to be 15 years. It's especially hard. I've lost, it's so tragic. This year's for me. I told you in the last video, celebrities love to be the victim. They want to be the victim so bad. They want everybody to think their life is so hard. It's unbelievable. Now listen to this. Here's where it gets even weirder. So he pontificates about himself before he even talks about the thing about the guy. Instead of just saying one nice thing about the guy, making one post about the guy, period. And then go on and cry about yourself in another one. Nope. Then Genius says this, okay? And don't forget, Tyler writes all these scripts. He bangs them out in 2 weeks. He says this, I've been trying to understand this tragedy all day. What's to understand? What went wrong with that plane? That's odd. How do you know anything went wrong with the plane? Steve loved flying, and he loved that plane. He took so much pride in it. I'm praying for his family as we all try to make sense of this heartbreak. Now, I've been trying to understand this tragedy all day. Well, the guy had a problem in a plane and it went down and crashed and he's no longer here. What's to understand? Then he says this, what went wrong with that plane? Maybe nothing went wrong with the plane. Maybe he had a medical condition in the air. He's by himself and who knows? Why would you automatically think something's wrong with the plane? That's suspicious. Speaking of the fact that Tyler Perry's very into planes, and what he does in his free time. I guarantee you, whatever you do in your free time, whatever your little hobby is, whoever you are, you're real good at. Most likely, either that or you're just a moron. So I'm sure he knows a lot about planes and aerodynamics and whatever the hell else makes plane works. Okay? Now, here's the weird part. This is the guy's plane. It lands like this in Tampa on a highway. The guy's out flying solo on a Friday night. All right. Interesting. The other thing that's interesting is this. TMZ did a thing on this, okay? But TMZ does, stuff like this. They'll make it a big deal out of, anything. Because somebody wears a new pair of tennis shoes. But Every other media barely mentioned it. Barely mentioned it. Not a lot of attention towards it. Okay? This guy randomly crashes. Okay, fine. Isn't it odd that this guy that's extremely close to Tyler, okay, who's a billionaire, who's running his studios, okay, and they just had a new movie, was this guy at the Paley Awards in Los Angeles? And then went, you know what I mean? Like, and it says the crash is under investigation. So he didn't radio the tower. Nobody knows nothing about this. What's going on? Little odd, folks. Tyler knows a lot about planes. So in 48 hours after the Scheissmite, you've got a Highline burglary thwarted. He gets very irritated in a interview because it's not even being asked about him. He's kind of, snips off at the reporter who makes the whole thing about them anyway. And then it's just this person mysteriously who loves his plane, Tyler seems to know a lot about him and his plane. I don't know. Coincidences, yeah? Anyways, folks, let me know your thoughts. Hope you guys are all doing great. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and who loves you, baby?
Who loves you, baby? You're beautiful.